Today's episode is with Doug Hollinger. Doug is a local legend within the Kenmore community here. He is a rock climber, ice climber, paraglider, mountain biker, backcountry skier, and probably a whole bunch of other stuff that I am not even aware of. It was very cool to have this conversation with someone who clearly lives their life with a lot of intention when it comes to fostering relationships and pursuing hobbies that bring him a lot of happiness. It's also cool to speak with someone who perhaps has a different tolerance to risk than I do, and to get his perspective on it and his views on it, and whether stuff is even risky once you break it down to its fundamental parts. Now, on to the episode. We originally met at the Banff Film Festival. How long have you been there?
With the festival?
Yeah, like volunteering there?
A long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we figured out this year that it's like 25-ish years.
That is wild. Because it can be, it's only ran for 25.
It was 50 years.
Oh, 50, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
It's ran 50, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really cool.
And what got you, like, how did you first volunteer for it? Was it just that you're into that, you live here, and then you want to?
Honestly, it was,
right?
I was planning to come down and go climbing somewhere or something. I assume climbing, but doing something with a friend who lived in Banff.
Right, okay, yeah.
And the weather was kind of no good. So he was like, maybe we should just volunteer at the festival. And I had never even heard of it before.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, sure, why not? And yeah, then it was just really, really cool. Met a bunch of the people, because he knew a bunch of the people who actually worked for the festival. Mm-hmm. So I got to meet them personally. And then, yeah, it was just really kind of awesome.
It's almost like you're part of it now.
Like, I almost feel like
20 years, like, must be one of the longest.
Well, I've been there, and people have retired from it since, not they, they started before me, but
yeah.
But yeah, and then I actually found out this year that Joanna, who is the grand poobah of the festival, or at least one of them, wrote that book on alpinism.
I know, amazing.
Which was really awesome. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I kind of briefly chatted to Joanna. I have no message her since, so I've said hi to her, but I think I briefly chatted to her when I was with you, and I was the same. Like, she wrote that Mountaineering for Women book. I remember immediately being like, wow, that's amazing.
Just so humble.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially I feel like anyone who writes a book, I always think I think that's really cool. I don't know why I would love to do that.
Yeah. I can't put that many moments together, so yeah, I'm more sporadic.
And then, is there? So, with regards to the volunteering, do you get to like kind of crawl up the ranks in like seniority within the volunteering just because you've been there so long, or are you just happy to do whatever they?
I don't know if there's really anything like that. I mean, you get to know obviously the volunteer coordinator well, and you get to know other volunteers that come back every year, and I don't know that there's really a rank thing as much as just the familiarity and like seeing like old friends that you don't really see outside of there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How has it changed since 20 years? Has it just grown in size?
Yeah, it's just grown in size. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lots of little changes that happen, but they're all good. And some of them good, some of them bad, of course.
Yeah. And when you started doing it, were you working it when you originally started volunteering? I would imagine 2 years ago. So, do you mind me asking, how long ago did you retire?
It'll be 2 years in about a month.
Oh, wow. So it's not that long.
No.
Oh, sweet. And so you did IT before?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. So 2 years, that's not that long. So I guess it's fresh in your mind. How did it feel how was the transition of retiring? How did it feel?
I think the transition happened while I was still working.
Okay.
Like the last 4 to 6 months, because my boss basically wanted me to go into the back seat, and then the projects that I was working on went to other colleagues, and then I was just kind of there. If something like history-wise came up, then I could do that. So I was kind of like gradually pushed out of it by my boss, which is kind of interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you retired, for retiring, it's pretty young.
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Younger than a lot of people do.
Yeah. And I feel like I can see this to you now because this hasn't happened to you, but there was that, I don't know if this is a thing in Canada, but in the UK, there was this somewhat running joke that people retired and then like 2 weeks later they were dead. Someone would retire and then like within months they'd be, oh yeah, they had a heart attack and died. You're like, what?
Because, yeah, I think they just don't have a reason to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have hobbies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a couple people that I worked with who are now in the process of retiring. And, the one guy actually has no hobbies. And the other guy was trying to come up with things to do because he realized that he needed to do something when he wasn't going to go to work every day.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I think it must obviously form such a long part of your life and not even if it's a long part of your life, but at least fills your day to day. And if you don't have a hobby and then you step away from this thing that fills 5 days of your week, you don't have anything that you're left to do. You're just like...
Yeah, and I was one of the lucky people that liked my job.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't. I think that's sad. But yeah, so I like my job. So it wasn't like it was, I got to go to work. It was more like, I can't climb tomorrow because I got to go to work.
And you obviously mentioned it there. I think a lot of people do struggle to let go of their work, especially if they don't have a lot of hobbies and they do probably identify as like an IT guy or a name like an engineer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like you already had hobbies prior to that, but when you knew that you were just like stepping away, how did you figure out how to like, okay, this is how I'm going to want my days to look when I don't have a job?
Oh, I had no idea.
Oh, really?
No, I retired and then just climbed or biked or, and I actually burned myself out in a few weeks because I wasn't taking time to reset.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And then all of a sudden it hits you and it's like, I want to do anything.
And did your structure then just kind of fall into place as you like kind of burned yourself out and then you're like, okay, this is how it...
Oh no, I think that's still
works.
That's still happening. I mean, I learned to take rest days from activities because I didn't have work as a rest day anymore. So yeah, I had to do the rest days. And then it's really hard when, like if you reached out, it's like, hey, Doug, let's go do this on Tuesday. Like, okay. Because they're all days to do stuff on. And I've had to just say I'm busy and just keep taking days off because you have to have a rest day. Everybody needs rest days.
If you didn't consciously have a rest day, do you think you would just go every 7 days a week?
Yeah, I basically did that for the first 2-3 weeks, and then you hit a wall.
Yeah, it's funny. Usually, when people retire, they've got endless time to do stuff. And I don't know, you obviously are filling your days for doing stuff, but yeah, I feel like every time you and I were going back and forth, it's like, no, doing this climb, not doing that climb, which is good though for you. You're not just sitting around. You're like, yeah, I've got aimless amounts of time to do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then, am I right in saying you rock climb, ice climb, and paraglide and do a bunch of mountain biking and stuff?
Yeah, mountain bike, yeah.
And have you just always done these things, or are these things you kind of got into later?
No, I used to basically, in the summertime, I had backpack for the most part. And then wintertime, some friends kind of coerced me to go ice climbing, and I discovered I liked it. And so that was my winter sport. And then summer was hiking or backpacking, like multi-day stuff. And then, then another friend, we started going out and doing some simple rock climbing. And then he bought a mountain bike. So then I had to buy a mountain bike because we're always going out doing things together. So now we have this, right? And so, then I don't know, after a bit, it just, you have all these sports, and then I don't know why I thought I needed another sport to retire. So that's why I took up paragliding. And, I guess I have too many friends that don't paraglide. So I don't tend to paraglide as much as I would like to because you end up doing stuff with your friend group. So, but yeah, hopefully there'll be more of that.
Do you prefer, it sounds like you prefer doing stuff with people as opposed to doing it yourself?
It's always more fun.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously paragliding, you're doing it solo, but then you're there with friends and when you land, you get together and whether you have a coffee or a beer or whatever you do, but yeah, it's always, yeah. And then I don't know, you end up meeting other people.
And with paragliding, have you tried to tempt people into it? Or is that, I would imagine that's something that you probably get quite a lot of no's to.
A lot of people want to.
Yeah.
But they don't want to commit the time and the money because it's all up front.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with climbing, you can get your personal gear and then go do your stuff with friends and not have to buy everything right away. You don't need draws and ropes and screws or any of that stuff when you first start. But you can't. So yeah, basically you have to buy all your stuff when you start, when you're paragliding. It's kind of like, almost like mountain biking. You can get a cheaper bike, but you still need the bike and the helmet and but yeah, paragliding, you kind of need all of it because it's all in the air. And we don't do very well when we fall out of the air.
You don't want to be getting like off-market brands paragliding equipment.
Well, I don't even know if there's that much of that because it's such an engineered process to make a paraglider that there's still just the major brand names that make it. It's, sort of like climbing stuff too. Yeah, there's the big brand, or the I guess not big, but there's the same brands that make the stuff. And then you can get, I mean, you can always get stuff off of Temu.
Sure. And so how do you start in paragliding? Like, what is the process of, I want to start doing it?
I mean, I guess I'm just going to say the safest way, just, go take a course. So yeah, you have the money to go take a course and a time. And then it's just, you can buy used equipment because everybody upgrades. And then, yeah, you can get started for somewhat inexpensive, but then you just, you buy your gear and go fly.
That's amazing. And with regards to like I'm obviously just putting my perspective on it. With regards to getting used or secondhand paragliding equipment, do people do that quite a lot? Or I guess I worry because I'm like, if you get something used that is for your bike and it breaks, you're not going to, unless you happen to be riding next to a cliff, you're not going to probably die from it. Whereas I feel like secondhand paragliding equipment, maybe it's just...
Well, you get it inspected.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't just randomly buy something.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, because I mean, to buy all your stuff brand new and then to upgrade brand new and, then to upgrade brand new, it's really expensive. So yeah, getting somebody else's stuff that they want to upgrade and then you buy their used stuff, it definitely helps money-wise.
And I would assume there's an element of like, if you're in that community and you make friends, you'll be friends with someone who's like, hey, I'm buying a new thing. Do you want my own?
Yeah. And, just like there's Marketplace or Kijiji or whatever, there's kind of narrower scoped groups like that for paragliding equipment too. So.
And then you said your friend roped you in to go ice climbing and you enjoyed it. What was it about it? Like when you first started doing it, what that you enjoyed?
I don't know. It was just so different. And yeah, I mean, I'd never rock climbed at that point, so I couldn't compare it to rock climbing.
Oh, wow. So you ice climbed before you rock climbed?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I don't know why I would assume that.
Because most people rock climb. Because now gyms and climbing is very mainstream.
Yeah.
Where it definitely wasn't when I started.
Do you feel like ice climbing's now the not kind of non-mainstream thing to do?
Oh, I think it's pretty mainstream still. Now, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I guess I say that because I come from a place where it's not, I guess I just didn't grow up doing it, so none of my friends ice climb, sorry. So if I tell my friends now that I'm going ice climbing, to them it's still this like wayward, backward like hobby that I'm doing. They're like, obviously ice climbing with me to Canada is eternal Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And both those things that you do, so I know you do a bunch of other stuff, but specifically like ice climbing and paragliding, they probably are to you, but to me, like, I wouldn't say they're like casual hobbies in the sense of, people go out a run or they cycle down the street, or like they're both like quite, I don't want to use the word intense because I'm not trying to make them out to be like extremely difficult, but I guess what I'm getting at is like, what do you get out of it minus just the exercise and the adrenaline rush? Because if you want to exercise, you could just go run, whereas they seem like they give you more than that.
Yeah, you could go run. But I don't.
Rather float through the air.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. A lot of people run it. It's a great exercise, but yeah, I don't know. We invented wheels. So I'll go mountain biking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess there's also this speed in there when you're biking. Same when you're flying. There isn't really speed with ice climbing. It's more like, I don't know what it is with ice climbing. There's a flow to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's a really silly question. What does it feel like to just be in the air?
Paragliding?
Yeah.
I mean, the first few times it's amazingly exhilarating.
Yeah.
Just because, we don't do that. That's not, yeah. And because we're a land creature,
mm-hmm.
we don't really have a vocabulary for the feelings in the air.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, when you're being thrown around in the air, it's different because there's no spatial anything.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And when you go paragliding, I think you said this to me before, but is it a case of, you'll climb up to a peak and then paraglide off? Is that right?
Generally, you'll climb or drive up to a launch area.
Okay.
And then, just launch from there and then hopefully, get some thermals and then go high.
And is it, as someone who does it, is it less, I don't want to use the word scary, but let's just say, is it less scary than someone who's never done it, i.e. me, would perhaps think it is?
Yeah, it's not actually that scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The equipment is really, especially the stuff when you first start, it's very, very forgiving. So it's not like you make a little mistake and the whole thing collapses and you fall.
Yeah.
Like
those are the only YouTube videos I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's exactly that.
Yeah. When you first start, the wings, they just want to be open.
Okay.
And so, you have to work hard to do things with them and make them do things. So
to really down it. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause they really want to be open. And and wind is strong. It's very strong.
So when you do, you're doing it for the very first time, did you have any, well, I guess, the very first time that you solo, like, I'm taking off from this landing site or, summit, like, what did that feel like? Did you have any, like, trepidation in your mind, or were you just?
Yeah. There was, 3 of us who were there and did the first bits together.
Uh-huh.
And we were just doing PowerPoint, going through the paperwork and learning the things about it. And then the weather changed because it was raining and the weather changed and it was really nice and sunny. And then, the head instructor comes out and says, do you want to go fly? And we're like, we don't know how. Because, we just started all of this stuff.
Uh-huh.
And so then, basically you go up and they walk you through the whole process and then, if you're not doing something right, they'll have you stop before you end up in the air. Not right.
Uh-huh.
And then, we just flew and if I think having, a couple friends there that you're kind of, they're going through the same thing as you. Cause like all of us were just like very apprehensive. But then it was really good. Yeah. Then you're in the air flying and they're talking to you, having to basically like turn. So they're explaining how to do things and how to turn. And because all the stuff you just learned on the ground is not in your head anymore when you first fly because there's so many new sensations. But yeah, then they're like, okay, do this because you're on a radio.
Yeah.
And telling you what to do. And then, then I just remember them, the instructor saying, okay, well, you just fly towards the landing zone and have a great flight. And that's when I realized that no one had ever told us how to land.
No way.
Which is really, it's kind of like, oh, what the hell? But then, you get towards the landing zone and they explain everything, like the steps you have to go through as you land.
Yeah, but it's
as you go. Because, it's again, like if they had explained it to us, we wouldn't have remembered it anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Like if they told you and then they told you on the ground and then you do the thing, as you just said, you're going to completely forget. Even simple stuff, I do that. Like someone can tell me and then as soon as I do it for the first time, I'm just like, you need to tell me all of that all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, it was good.
And then, so ice climbing is kind of like your winter sport. And then would you say, so you were saying like kind of backpacking and mountain biking, is that still more your summer?
I don't really do much backpacking anymore. But I keep I keep telling myself I'm going to do more, but I never get around to it because I have enough other things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, because I think like we met because I volunteer with the Great Divide Trail as well.
Yeah.
And so at the booth and and there was just the one booth between us this year. So but, it'd be really cool to hike some of that trail or some more of the trail because I did some of it before I knew that it was part of the Great Divide Trail. But I just never get my act together and you have to book campsites, especially the ones in the national parks, in advance, quite a ways in advance. Basically like now for June, July, and August kind of thing. So, and I haven't done any trip preparation. So, yeah.
I feel like I don't know if this is what you're saying, but I feel like I'm maybe the same where I'm not thinking about summer. Like now I'm thinking about like still the winter stuff. So that you're right. Like you need to book all the camp stuff now. So that I usually totally forget about it. And then summer comes and I want to do the camping stuff. And I'm like, oh, I forgot to do that in January or whatever the month is.
Yeah. So, because like a couple of the people in the organization, they're doing some of the trail this year and they've been planning it since November and I haven't.
Would you say you're more like you're not necessarily like the biggest fan of planning? You're quite.
I do plan, but I tend to be more focused on what's happening now.
Okay, yeah.
So not necessarily over planning now, but it's like, well, it's winter sports now, and from what I've seen from what they're doing, like it actually is a lot of planning. In order to make sure that you have everything that's going to flow as you, because once you start hiking, everything has to just happen. So, but so I'm probably not doing a trail again this year.
You'll be rock climbing though.
I'll be doing other things. Yeah.
And then with the, so I kind of want to ask you this because I know not everything that you do involves this, but obviously with like stuff like ice climbing and to me paragliding, they do have a certain perception of like risk. Do you feel like your understanding of risk has changed since you've kind of been doing both of those things?
I think, I don't know if it's understanding of risk or the acceptance of risk. Because you do have to accept, some risk when you're out there doing the sports. And I mean, most people, I guess if you get injured, it's, there is that, what that will happen. But, I think there's less people that actually get injured doing the sports than you would think. Because everybody kind of understands what they're getting into, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so you pay more attention to what's going on because you have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I like that part of the whole, like all of the sports. Like when you're ice climbing or when you're paragliding or when you're mountain biking, rock climbing, whatever, our minds generally can only do so much at a time. And, so you tend to, like, your focus is on the activity you're doing. And so it's a complete mental break from regular life because you can't worry about whether, whatever you're having for dinner is thawed, or what your boss said to you on, Friday before you left for the weekend.
Uh-huh.
Like those things are not in your head while you're doing your sports because you can't have them there. There isn't enough room for everything. Yeah.
Almost as if be quite meditative, if that's the right word.
Yeah. I guess that might be. It's a little bit meditative.
Yeah, because you can't think, as you say, you can't think anything else. That you're in the flow of whatever the thing you happen to be doing at the time.
Yeah.
And do you think it also sounds like it makes you a lot more intentional with what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're a lot more engaged in it because I would assume, as you say, like the paragliding can be quite forgiving, but I would assume that in all these sports like rock climbing, ice climbing, paragliding, small decisions can have like such a big impact. So it must make you like dialed into just those, like how those tiny little decisions can affect stuff.
Yeah.
Do you find that has bled into like your day-to-day life? Like, do you feel like it's made you more intentional in
I think so.
Yeah.
And it changes your focus on things.
Mm-hmm. In what way?
Well, just so that, I guess when I was working, my boss said that I would often, actually like enact the whole thing. It's not my problem. It's your problem.
Okay.
Kind of thing. So when other people's, situations and they need you to do this right away because otherwise I can't do that. And I'm like, well, that's not my problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it changes your focus so that you're not trying to make everything work. You're just trying to make your life work.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
So
does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So, sorry, I think if you were saying that it made you focus on what you were doing and not trying to like please everyone and make a the picture. Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, because I think that's something that I find I have tried to do now as I get older. Like I'm trying to be more intentional with decision making. Obviously like making a coffee is not like the end of the world, but with like the bigger things, I think with the bigger things it's easy to be intentional because they hold so much.
There's more value,
but I think it's like the smaller things that equally can have a big impact on your day, but you don't really appreciate how like that little small decision you can make will actually ruin your afternoon because you didn't think about the X, the Y, and the Z.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think with those sports, like it must be, if you're putting a hold in or you're making a turn or whatever, like you have to kind of probably be, yes, this is just a little decision now, but I need to think so many steps ahead or so many things of how it's going to pan out.
Yeah.
And I think as well with it was funny, I've actually said this to people, but you and I went, where did we go? We went to EP.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've said this to you already, but for the voice of that, I'll say it. So I do rock climb, but like very, very casually, not like by any means to the level or the amount that you will. So me and my girlfriend Cass were like doing like a 5, 6 or 8 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at EP and you were like way down the bottom. And you were like, hey, come down and do this one, you'll love it. And as soon as you said that, my heart, I just like filled with dread. Because I was like, in my mind, I was like, this is going to be solid. So anyway, we go down and, obviously I started climbing. You were actually amazing. But I noticed that, and you probably, I don't know if we ever chatted about this, but there was like a overhang that I'd never done one before, never mind doing this one. And I said that to you, and you very graciously let me come down to chat to you. And then I went back up, but I appreciated you pushing me. Like, I appreciated you being like, you can do this, go back up and do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, with people, how do you know when to push someone and when to be like, okay, this person is just not, it's not worth pushing them. Like, they're not going to enjoy it. And,
I think that just comes with experience in reading people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because some people, you can tell they have the personality that you can push them a little bit further than somebody else.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, and I don't generally push too much. So,
yeah.
Kind
of let people find their own way.
Yeah.
I was glad you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were very gracious with me. And it was funny, like, your friends were sitting at the bottom as well. And it's quite funny, like, even being like a grown man who appreciates that you shouldn't worry about the judgment of others. See, like, people sitting there watching you, there is a bit I don't know if it's my ego or just like whatever within me. I was like, it did make it kind of harder than if I think it had just been me and you. See, when there's more people there, you get like, oh God, I can't.
Yeah. I don't know if it's maybe ego or just you wanting to, like, maybe it is ego. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're just not wanting to make yourself look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, the chances are the rest of us aren't judging anyway.
Yeah, no, I know.
So, yeah.
I think it's just that, yeah. It's honestly, it's definitely a me thing. But with regards to, I think, like, I would assume that knowing when and when not to push someone, as well as risk, like, I think you would say both of those things come with experience. As you get more experience, you understand when to push someone, when not. And also, as you get more experience, you know when you're willing and capable of taking more risk and when you're not. Do you think risk is something that people can learn and grow? Or do you think there's just people who are risk takers and there's people who aren't?
Yeah, I think most people's risk doesn't change much. It might grow and maybe manifest a bit different, but I think the risk that you're comfortable with is kind of what's there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Do you feel like yours has got more? Or do you think you just got more comfortable? Sorry.
I think it's just comfortable. I think the risk is still there.
Right, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I still kind of scared of heights.
Oh, really? Yeah? That's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the prairies.
Yeah, everyone's fun.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
The only heights you had was looking down a hill.
So with the paragliding then, is it just a case that you've just got used to being at a height?
It mean, paragliding, I think, is different anyway, because once you get a certain height off the ground, we can't perceive depth anymore.
Oh,
so
really?
It's not as big a deal. Like, you do realize you're high, but you're above the scared bit.
So when you say you perceive depth differently, what do you mean? As someone who's never paraglided, I just imagine being up super high and looking down and being like, oh, I'm in a plane here.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just going to say, like, if you've flown, you kind of have the same thing.
Oh, right.
Like if you're on a high rise and look down at the ground.
Oh, I get jelly legs.
Right. But if you're like 10,000 feet up in an airplane, you can't tell how far up you really are. You know you're high.
Right, okay, yeah.
But we can't tell depth yeah.
Oh, true. Okay, I'm trying to think that through. Yeah, if I look over like a tall building or even like a multi-story car park, I get like, my legs go jelly.
Yeah.
And I don't like flying, but I can obviously sit in a plane and it doesn't bother me that much.
Yeah.
That's wild. I never thought of that. Is that just because you're so high, you just can't fathom it? Like, your brain can't. Like,
yeah, I don't think our brains are capable of.
Because obviously, I guess if you're at a tall building, you've got reference points around you to be like,
to tell you how tall
that's
you are.
tall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're on a plane, it's so
Yeah.
unhuman. Probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know humans design planes, but I mean, I guess if
Yeah.
there's nothing actually that high for you to like have a reference point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So yeah, like all the stuff that's close to the ground still scares me, which is good.
Yeah, that's true. And do you feel like I was chatting with Barry Blanchard, and he was saying that a good climber has to have fear, because he said without fear you would
Make bad decisions.
Exactly. Yeah. Would you kind of agree with the same thing?
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You still have the fear. You learn how to process it.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's why I can climb, because it's not like I'm not scared when I'm on a tall ice climb, but you learn to trust the gear and you learn to trust your friends, and basically you can turn off that, flight part. So yeah.
And if you have any of those moments, like say you're on a climb or you're doing anything and you have like that moment of like fear, do you have like a little mental thing that you do that calms you down? Like do you just take like deep breaths, or do they happen like less often? So
I think they just happen less.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't normally get that anymore, just because I guess it's time in. I'm not going to say experience, because that I think is the wrong word, but yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's something I often find, that if I'm in like don't want to use the word panic, but if I get scared or something, I honestly sometimes find if I just consciously take as many deep breaths as I can for as long as I can, like it usually does mellow me out. Like I've learned that like the whole mind body thing, and usually it's like your mind's kind of freaking out because your body's having all these physical reactions and it's interpreting it. So now I just try and breathe. I'll let my mind race away, but I'll like force myself to take deep breaths, and then I usually find if I do that for long enough, like minutes at a time, while my mind might still be freaking out, like I'll feel everything else just slowly settle.
Yeah.
And then once my body settles, my mind usually kind of climbs off of the ledge.
Yeah. I mean, I'll sometimes maybe talk to myself a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Basically encouraging yourself as you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would assume that would you, like the people that you're paragliding with and climbing with, or just your friends that you're going out and doing this stuff with, do you feel you're all at like a similar level where you know how the other one's feeling, so you know when to push, when to hold back? Or are you with people who are more experienced, so you feel safer, that you're kind of like, well, so-and-so's here?
I would say you get to know your friends, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know when to push them harder. Yeah.
Yeah, because I imagine, yeah, like as I say with that time when you and I were climbing, like I feel like, I mean, you obviously did know when to push me. Because I was kind of like, I'll just say it, like I was scared of doing that, which is kind of mad because, it's an incredibly safe environment. But I used to do it where, and I guess a lot of people do this when I started rock climbing, I would like climb a little bit, check the knot,
okay,
climb a little bit more, check the knot again. And it's funny, like the higher I climbed, the more times I would check the knot. So like at the bottom, I would check it once, climb like however high, and then I'd check it, and then I'd climb a little bit, and eventually get to the point where at the top, I'm like borderline just staring at the knot in my rope to make sure if I'd done it. But I also remember the first time I did a multi-pitch. I think also someone who doesn't climb a lot, there obviously is quite a lot of gear, like carabiners, clips, quick draws, all that stuff. And I guess just not really being familiar with that, even though, people, I've heard countless times about how like, the amount of, I want to say newtons. Is that right?
Yeah.
Like a carabiner, like the power and the strength and the force that each of them can hold, and it could be like a car on a piece of string. I think until you start doing it though, like none of that really, I don't have the faith in them until I start doing it. And anyway, the first time I multi-pitched, I remember the first couple of pitches, I was kind of checking everything. And then I think it was only maybe like 8 pitches, but by the last couple, I was just like, cool, yeah, sweet. I guess I haven't fallen yet. So this is probably, all this is making sense, but I don't know. Do you feel like you're quite a trusting person anyway, or do you?
I think so, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I would say I'm more trusting.
I think I lean the other way, mate, perhaps.
Oh,
Not,
yeah.
not that I like distrust people in a negative way. I think I'm one of these people where I need the experience of it. That I can't just like in blind faith be like, oh, okay, sweet, cool, yeah. Like I need to do it, feel the thing, make sure I've done it a couple of times, and then but I think I more believe than trust, if you know what I mean. Like I'll believe it once I've done it. I don't necessarily go into it with trust. But again, says more about me than it does about the...
Yeah. But again, that's you knowing you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And I would assume that's kind of half the battle of going into stuff like this. Like, if you know how you operate, then you can, find your own little tricks and things that you need to do to be able to do the thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
And it was funny as well when we were at the rock climbing thing. It honestly felt like you were the man around town. Like every group we bumped into, every person we kind of saw, it was like, hey, Doug.
Which just so happened, a lot of the people that were there that day I knew.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. But it was quite funny. Like, I was like, who is this guy? Because obviously I know you from, I knew you from the Banff Film Festival. We're kind of everyone somewhat knows each other. So when people were saying hi to you all the time, I guess I was like, it made sense because you're working there. But yeah, when we were at the climbing gym, I was like, it almost felt... So anyway, after that, we went to the pub and had a few pints. And again, like a bunch of people coming up and saying hi. And I was chatting with a guy who, I can't remember if he said it, but I think he did, where he was like, you haven't become a climber in the Bow Valley until you've rock climbed with Doug. Like it's almost like a rite of passage.
I see.
Yeah, which is quite a nice thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess...
I'll take that as a compliment.
I guess kind of what I'm getting at there though is like, obviously it seems that you are someone who has quite a big community of like friends and people.
I think so, yeah.
Is that something that you obviously value quite a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And have you always been that way, or was that something that you were more intentional when you stepped away from your work?
No, that was basic. That came with the climbing and mountain biking stuff. Because I'm a very socially introverted person.
Really?
I would have
thought the opposite of that.
I'm really quite introverted.
Wow, I would not have thought that.
Yeah.
I honestly have had you in my mind as an extrovert.
Yeah.
Just because you're like, I mean, you know everyone really, that's why.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty much an introvert.
Wow. That's a total like change in perspective. So so someone who is quite introverted then but
I think growing up introverted.
Yeah.
And in a farming community where like you know all your neighbors, you know all the people basically small towns, you know everybody in town anyway.
Yeah.
And they've known you since you were a kid. When you leave that environment, and go climbing, you kind of need to turn on the social bit in order to just talk to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of forces you to.
Yeah, and then I also think like living, 5 hours from here for most of my life, you need to keep in touch with people in order to, get together with them again, because you're not like they're here and you're 5 hours away. So you've got to kind of keep that social thing going in order to have the climbing friends, because I don't have any of those where I grew up. Like there's very few people there that, do the human powered sports. So, and then I don't know, just it kind of kept going, and now I know too many people.
Yeah. I was thinking there as well, we obviously live in quite a transient place as well. People are constantly coming and going. You obviously just mentioned there, you come from a place that's 5 hours away and you need to make an effort to keep those relationships going. And all the time the fact that you've lived out here for so long and you've got that 5 hour gap, and also with the nature of this community, what do you think has been the main thing in a friendship that's kept it like strong or lasting?
I think just doing the things together, and then you have that bond. And And then, like it honestly doesn't take that much to keep in touch with people, even if they move away again. Because, like there's a lot of transient here. And I don't know. I guess I just maybe leverage it too. Because, like I've gone to other places in the world, and then you meet up with somebody that you met here, you climbed with here, and then you end up in Australia, climbing in the Blue Mountains for 2 weeks almost by accident because the weather got really shitty where you were.
Is that what you've done? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool. How was that?
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, a friend and I were in New Zealand, and the weather in the wind. Well, Southern Hemisphere winter there is kind of fickle, and it got really bad, and so we ended up just going to Australia.
Wow.
And rock climbing there for 2 weeks.
What was the rock climbing there compared to here like?
I guess it's you approach the climbs at the top,
right,
and then you rappel in, and then you have to climb out because you rappel into the canyon.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was an interesting concept, because here we go to the bottom, and then if you can't get up, you just go down and walk away. But there, once you've rappelled,
you're kind of committed.
You're committed to climbing out on something.
Ah, wow.
So yeah, but yeah, it was very interesting. It was winter, so there was like all the creatures there that wanted to kill me were dormant.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I went to show you, and you actually said something that I've always thought, is that true or is my memory wrong? Which is, when I went to the Blue Mountains, I think I'm from Scotland, which is kind of similar to Canada. Like you go to the mountains and then go up the way.
Yeah.
Whereas the Blue Mountains are like a canyon. So you drive out to the canyon and then you go down the way. So it's not really, in my mind, it's like, it's not really a mountains. It's more a canyon.
Yeah. To me, it's more canyon.
Yeah. That's what
I mean, I guess there's probably mountainous there too, but most of the climbing is you wrap down into at least where I was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Was there any moments where you wrapped down and I mean, I guess you would have had to have got it, but was there any moments you wrapped down and you're like, oh, this is actually going to be...
Well, there was only one climb when we went down, and it basically was all lots of overhanging stuff on the way down, and I was like, I don't know about this, but I'm already past the point of, complaining about it.
And you just did it?
So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we ended up climbing something that wasn't as overhung on the way up.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And worst case scenario, could you walk out of there? Yeah, it would just be a long walk.
You could walk out, but you could also just walk to another spot.
Oh, okay, right.
Something else.
Makes sense.
So yeah.
Wow, that's so funny. That's really cool. Yeah, I never, obviously it makes sense that you could climb there.
Yeah.
And it was because obviously it was do you have a preference over there or here for the climbing?
Oh, I don't, everywhere is nice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all different though, right? It's all different styles. I mean, here we have, the limestone that falls apart every year. More of it does. If you go down into the States, they have, different rocks, different climbing. What's the word I want? I don't know if modalities maybe? Because, there's slab and there's cracks and there's, then there's granite and there's sandstone and there's limestone, and it's all different. And, some of it you just have to get used to differently. And
I always make it quite fun in itself, the fact it's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you ultimately ended up there because you had a friend that you'd met there who
I had a friend I'd met, an Aussie friend that I met here and climbed with. And then we actually decided to go to New Zealand to do some alpine stuff there. And then the weather got shitty, and so we went to Australia, where he's from, and climbed there instead.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's a long relationship.
And just, changing your flights and your schedules and being flexible and yeah.
I mean, you were saying being, I guess, with regards to relationships and the ones that are the strongest, has there ever been, and I'm asking from a personal experience here, has there ever been a point where you thought you had a stronger friendship with someone than it turns out you did? Like, as in you were kind of putting a lot of effort into it and then you realize after a period of time, you're like, oh, this is a bit of a one-way road here.
I don't know, because I'm going to say no.
Okay, nice.
Because most of the time, like say I want to do a whole bunch of stuff with you, but you just don't have the time.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to spend the time together. And so, yeah, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. I mean, because both people have to put into their relationship to get out of the relationship. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you have to be intentional with it. Like, I guess what I was getting at is like, having lived abroad, there's like people that I probably am friends with back home that I maybe expected more of a effort to stay in touch. And when that transpired not to be the case, I think I was kind of probably like bummed. I was like, well, I think I thought there was more in this friendship than they obviously did, which isn't a negative thing on them. Like, it obviously just highlights that was the case, but it's a bit of a harsh thing to swallow.
Yeah. But I mean, here, like, you meet people here, and there's a lot of transient people and they go away. You still keep in touch if you want to. And your relationships and friendship is going to change because you're not in the same environment. So, like I have some friends who like they've gone back to Europe, and I still keep in touch. But when they left, they're like, I'm coming back next year. But life happens, and one of the friends is now full IFMGA guide in Europe. That's the path he took, and we had to concentrate on that instead of coming back here just to play. So, now he's starting to do, now that he's got all of that stuff done, he's starting to do more like trips to different places. And so maybe he'll come back. I don't know. But yeah, like, I'm sure that if we ran into each other, we'd carry on from where we left off as far as a friendship. But yeah,
I do sometimes think as well, if it's a case of, people who have moved and lived abroad, or not even necessarily lived abroad, but they've just moved like significantly from where they grew up, even like 5 hours like yourself. I think once you've done that, you appreciate it probably more, that you need to like reach out. I guess, I guess what I'm saying is, people who are like, grew up in the same place, working in the same place, they've never moved anywhere that's like too far. Like, they probably don't appreciate at times that, not reaching out to a friend is often, they probably just wouldn't think to do that because they haven't had the experience of living away and not seeing everyone. And I would assume that a lot of people who move here, we are kind of all doing like totally different people, totally different intentions and stuff, but you've all had that similar experience where, you've moved away that you wanted to, what it's like to try and keep in touch with people and be more intentional about it in your friendships.
Yeah.
And then, see, when you were saying that you're introverted, I'm struggling to like piece that together.
That threw you off, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it something, do you feel like you were saying like you grew up introverted? Would you still think of yourself as that now? Or do you feel like you've slowly...
No, I'm still,
yeah, but you're just like more intentional, but I'm just going to make an effort to...
Yeah.
And do you ever get to a point where your social battery's kind of depleted and you're like...
Oh yeah.
I do, yeah.
I people out once in a while.
So what do you, like, how do you like replenish your social battery? Is it just like sitting in your house by yourself? As simple as that.
Or just not, so, there's days where it's just like, you just are in the house, you don't go out and see people, but I don't know, it's just like doing things just for me, whether it's just like, I don't know, make bread, like make a loaf of bread. I don't know, just cook. I like to cook. So just do something that doesn't involve being super social. So like I could go like to a rock climbing gym with a friend. That would be okay but just not being out in the general public. So, which I think I get more tired of people when I'm actually in the city. Because when I'm like out here, I'm generally, even though there's, a few thousand people wandering around Banff Ave right now, I'm not with them. So I'm generally with one or two people when I go to do things. And so it doesn't overwhelm my batteries.
And when you were working, did you become any more intentional with hanging out with people after you left work? Or were you already quite social at that point? I'm thinking like if you leave your job, was it a conscious decision to be like, I'm leaving this thing where like I'm with a bunch of people all day, I need to make an effort to...
Well, I guess the thing with doing IT is you're not with a big group of people a lot. Obviously I worked with the government, so there was always lots of meetings. But when we had to go do things, a lot of it was not like people facing. So we didn't have to go into offices a lot to deal with the people there. That wasn't what I did for a job. And then after, I guess the other thing is when you're through a work day, you don't have the time to generally go out and do a lot of activities after work. So I just go to the gym and, then, do your workout and go home. And so when you're doing your workout, it doesn't matter how many people are around, it's you. Because you can't actually do a real workout and be social at the gym. You can go be social at the gym. So
I definitely feel like some people who go to the gym purely treat it as a social event.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely fall into that trap as well, where like it's funny, I'm probably the same. I actually would think I'm the same as you. Like I am quite introverted as well. But, when I'm out in public, I will be like really chatty and stuff. And sometimes it's funny, you go to the gym and because maybe you're the same as me, where you just know a bunch of people, like you could spend the whole gym just like chatting to him, chatting to her, chatting to him.
Yeah.
And sometimes and I usually do that, but like sometimes I go to the gym and I'm like, I literally just want to get this workout and leave, or get this climb or whatever and leave.
Yeah.
But because of the fact that you're normally such a social guy, you kind of have to be like, oh yeah.
Well, I mean, you have to acknowledge your friends.
Yeah.
In my mind, you at least need to acknowledge them. You don't have to have a big conversation, but like even like acknowledging them across the gym is fine.
Yeah, no, I would definitely not ignore them. I usually just say, oh, hey, like, I'll talk to them, but I'll always try and be like, I mean, I would literally will just say to them like, hey, I'm going to like zip in and out of this place pretty quickly, but
yeah,
I think as well with I was thinking about work, just because I think a lot of people, you were obviously saying that your work wasn't necessarily one when it was like that customer facing. But I think a lot of people, their friendship circles are their work really. Or can be, if it's like a big social company, and I would assume that when people step away from that, or even like change career, if it's like, even within the same towns, like the amount of times I've had a job, had a friendship group within it, and then moved company, and you're like, oh yeah, we'll keep in touch, and then 6 months, a year, 2, 3 years later, you haven't chatted to them in forever.
Yeah.
And I've always, not always, but would wonder if that's also a thing that puts people off retiring. Like you were saying about people who don't have hobbies, I also wonder if that's a part of it, where they're like, if they don't have hobbies, they also probably don't have social circles outside of work, I would assume.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, you're not just giving up your day-to-day job, you're also probably being like, oh, I'm giving up this social circle.
Yeah.
No, I've always thought you'd have to be quite intentional. If, like, obviously it sounds like your life was already not designed, but you obviously were living a life that already had all these, hobbies and social circles and stuff within it. But, I think if you were to retire, like a lot of people who don't have that would have to be like super intentional with realizing that and being like, okay, I need to start a new thing. This is going to fill my time and also give me that social thing. Because I think I'm someone that's fallen prey to being too comfortable in their own company at times. I could honestly feasibly spend a weekend by myself, like reading a book. I mean, maybe going on a run and stuff, so still doing stuff, but I could go a weekend without talking to anyone, and not that I would do that all the time, but I could do that and be pretty comfortable. Like, and I think it's a negative. It's times when I do it too often. Yeah. And I'm like, you're kind of shutting yourself out here. You need to be more like Doug.
I agree. Yeah, like yesterday was just a home day. Yeah. So.
And do you spend much time in Calgary, or are you kind of constantly out here?
I spend most of my outdoor days close to Calgary anyway. Mm-hmm. I don't drive out here too much on a activity day. So, it is a bit of a drive. So
yeah. And then when it came to like work as well, I think a lot of people can get like defined by their work. People think of, I am like an IT guy, or I am an engineer, or I am a teacher, or name the thing. Mm-hmm. When you stepped away from it, like what characteristics did you have that you thought were tied to your job that you actually kept when you left?
What characteristics?
Or like what parts of your life do you feel like you kept when you left your job?
I don't know. 'Cause I discovered a long time ago not to let my job define me.
Mm-hmm. How did you discover that, if you mind me asking?
I don't know. I just, started just not think. For me, like it was the balance between life and work had to be there, mm-hmm. And so, like I did feel somewhat tied to, the job and responsible and all of that stuff, and so if my boss would have phoned on an evening and like, hey, this building is offline, can I get you to go in and have a look at it? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have hesitated. I would have gone if I was home. Because we were never really on call. It was just kind of like if something happened, we would get a call, and then if we were able to go in, we would go in. But mm-hmm. So I guess maybe just responsibilities would have obviously changed, because now it's just me.
Mm. Yeah. Did you miss that at all? Did you miss the having responsibilities, or have you just now swapped those responsibilities for ones that you've given yourself?
I'm going to say I've swapped them, because I just do more outdoor things now, obviously. Mm-hmm. And, I'm probably making more trips up to see family mm-hmm. than I did before. 'Cause it was trying to balance like work and life and family. And, so, I've probably been up to see, the family of the farm more frequently since I retired anyway. Mm. And maybe not as, I guess the other thing is that I don't go up just for weekends now, because I'll go up and spend a couple of weekdays up there too when I go, because I don't have the job. Mm. So that's kind of cool.
Are you quite close to your family?
I'd say, yeah.
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 Have you always been quite close, or is it like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was just a thing. We grew up close. I think that's a small town thing too.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't grow up we grew up in like the countryside, if you will. And I mm-hmm. think it kind of forces you to be close, because there's not really that many people around you to be hanging out with.
Well, even if you do go hang out with other people, like you're spending most of every day with your siblings and your parents and grandparents.
Yeah.
So
I do think that must be so, and now that I'm older and I've watched my own two sisters now have young kids, I do think it's probably made me appreciate how hard it must be for parents to let their kids go. Because of what we were saying, where you're with these people 24/7, you raise them, you grow them, you're with them 24/7, and then it's like, I live in Canada, my other sister lives in Spain, my other sister lives in another country. So it must be hard I've always thought that it must be really hard to just let people go.
To let them grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is like, do you feel like you're a person who enjoys having like a structure in life?
To some degree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would say flexible structure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like perhaps you know what you're doing for the week. You don't necessarily know what you're doing like 6 months later, but for that week, you're like, okay, Monday, I'm doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Like my schedule kind of goes about 2 weeks out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember when I went traveling for like 6 months. And I think in the beginning, I thought like, this is amazing. I could do whatever I want with my days. I can blah, blah, blah. But see, after a while, I honestly kind of missed having a purpose is quite a strong word to use, but probably was like something to do. I think after like multiple months of doing whatever I wanted, granted it was in a different country, like traveling, so it was kind of cool. I think after a while, I was like, I kind of miss the structure of not necessarily a 9-to-5 job, but at least being like, not having to think about how I was filming my day every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Or where you're going next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas, when you're home, even if you're going to go away, you have like, there's still that home at the end.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I definitely found that as well. Like I think after that 6-month trip, I probably would never backpack again. I'd probably move to a place and then like do trips from there. Mm-hmm. But always have that kind of, what's the word? Have that little, I guess.
Grounding?
Yeah, grounding, like a home base to come back to. And then it sounds as well, like I was obviously chatting about like work defining you, but it sounds like you're not someone who lets kind of labels and you don't get an identity specifically from one thing.
No.
You don't identify as like, I am this. You're got like a ton of stuff going on.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing is trying to get, because I've ice climbed so much in the last few years, everybody thinks I just ice climb.
I honestly thought that.
Yeah.
I mean,
and so, like, this year with the snow, it's like, but I want to go skiing. Yeah. But everybody wants to go ice climbing.
Mm-hmm. And I guess I'm the ice climbing guy.
Yeah.
I honestly did think that. Not to, I hope that you don't mind that, but I did honestly think, I was like, I guess he spends all his time ice climbing.
Yeah. I spend probably 70 to 80% of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just because it's my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And I guess like there's also that trap of if you do identify something, regardless of what it is, and then it's taken away from you, you kind of would lose a little bit of sense of yourself because you're like, oh, I am an ice climber. And if you can't ice climb, then you're like, well, what am I? Or what else do I do? If that's just,
now what do I do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like it's definitely cool to have such a broad spectrum of stuff that you have. You're not pigeonholing yourself into one thing.
No, I try not to.
Do you have out of all the things that you do you have a favorite thing?
Do I have a favorite thing? I mean, I guess just because I'm so comfortable at it, I would say ice climbing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as much as I like mountain biking in the summer, I wish I could do a little bit more paragliding. So maybe this summer I'll do some more. Just do more days of that instead. So,
and if you when you kind of think of your life and how your lifestyle now, and what do you think? I'm trying to think of the right way of putting this. With the lifestyle that you have now, what do you think gives you a well-lived life if you think about it?
A well-lived life?
Yeah, to you.
I think you just have to be happy. I think it's something that you should do throughout your life, but especially when you're retired and you don't have to, trade your time for money. think you shouldn't do things that don't make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and do you think, I've heard this thing that they say happiness is not a destination, it's a journey.
mm-hmm.
You know, you don't get to this, like, can't think of the word, but you don't get to the point. I think a lot of people, I heard this thing where they talk about how a lot of people have this thing called, like, say, deferred happiness syndrome or something, where people have this mindset of, they think, oh, if I only get to this thing, or if I only do that, or like once I've got to this point in my career, or once I have a family, like, then I'll be happy. And but they keep doing
well, and everybody strives for this retirement thing. And yes, it's great. I 100% recommend it to everybody.
Yeah.
But you need to be happy before you retire to be happy after you retire. Like, just stopping working isn't going to make you happy if you're already not happy. So I don't. That's just my perspective.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I think way too many people think that if they retire, because I hear, like, I heard this at work way too much. It's like, I just can't wait till I retire and then I can go do what I want and be happy. Well, if you can't do like a small portion of what you want and be happy, you're not going to be happy doing a large portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because you're never going to take the time to do it. And I think that's why people, retire and die. I mean, also, I consider myself lucky that I could retire early. But a lot of people don't retire till they're, in their 60s. Some people late mid 60s.
My dad's 70. He's not retired. My dad's 17. He's not retired.
Yeah. And I mean, some people, they choose not to, and because they really enjoy their job, and that's great.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, like, by the time you're, say, 65, and your life was going to work and making dinner and going to bed, well, you take going to work out of there, all those people do is, they don't have the drive built in already to go do something.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I would assume as well, if you have that attitude of, I'll be happy once I retire. When you retire, you'll put it on to the next, I'll be happy once you're going to constantly defer it. I think when I heard that, it made me realize, like, this is not, it's such a simple thing to say, but it took me a while to understand it, where it's like, life is happening, like, right now, like today, like tomorrow when I woke up and I go to work or whatever, like, that's your life. It's not like the holiday, or it's not the retirement, or it's not the this. It's like their day to day that's your life. Like, moments of your life tricking by. Yeah,
there should be lots of milestones. Yeah, you should be happy every day.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. There's days when you're not happy. But yeah, you should just generally be content. Maybe is the better word than happy. And I don't know, like, don't forget to live. So,
yeah, again, I think that's a similar thing where so many people put off living until the holiday, or the retirement, or when I get this amount of money in my salary, or then I'll start to do the things. And like, I mean, I'm like early 30s now, and I do think that, where it's like, if you keep having that attitude, it won't be long until you're 75 and you're like, should have started that stuff when I was younger.
And then, you look forward to the holidays so much that when your 7 to 10 days of vacation is over and you go back to work, you're just totally depressed.
Yeah.
Because you now have nothing to look forward to as far as your mind is concerned. Whereas you need to have things all the time that you're looking forward to, you're happy about. And so, yeah.
If you had a friend that was like in that position that was saying to you exactly what you just said there, where like they don't enjoy their day-to-day life and they only enjoy it when they go on holiday, if you were to give them advice, what advice would you give them?
Just to learn to live. Yeah.
And what would you think would be a practical if someone, like, if you said that to someone, they'd be like, but what do you mean by that? Like, how do I learn to live? Like,
well, one of the guys is just retiring. You know, when we had a discussion when I was, had maybe 3 months left at work. And he's like, yeah, I've got like 2 years and a bit. And, but I don't know what I'm going to do when I retire because I don't have any hobbies. And I'm like, well, you've just, like hit the nail on the head. You have no hobbies. You've got 2 years to develop some hobbies so that when you retire, you're not bored. Because, boredom isn't great. So yeah, like, and, I actually keep in touch with a few of the people that I used to work with. It's kind of fun. And it's interesting hearing the stories of what's going on, in the office and with the jobs and the job sites that we were at. And cause like being government, some of them are completed and like long done. And some of them are still well in the stages because it's, bureaucracy. and it's, I don't know, people might think I'm crazy, but I kind of think keeping in touch and hearing the stories is kind of enlightening because it reminds me how, what a great decision it was to leave when I did.
Yeah. Just listen to all the what's it called, like water cooler gossip, and you're like,
yeah.
I'm glad these decisions don't affect my life anymore.
Yeah. And one of the guys was chatting with me. It was, it was just him and I because, he's now a supervisor. And so he's just chatting and it's like, you're about the only person I can talk to because I can't talk to my boss and I can't talk to my subordinates. And he's like, but you understand because you were, I was in that office environment there. So, so it's just kind of funny just to listen to him venting but yeah.
I think that's the thing as well with relationships where it's like, it's always good to have people who not only that you can talk to, but who can relate to what you're talking about. You know, like I could talk to you about, so if I was to talk to you about my work, you might understand what I'm saying, but there might be like little nuances that you're like, oh yeah, I remembered what it was like when that person was putting pressure and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or even just the same, I think in the same concept when it comes to like fears and doubts and stuff like that. Like if you have someone who has been in the same position, if you can like talk to them and vent to them, I feel like it gives you so much more than someone who hasn't had the experience because you can kind of lean on them for support and advice, and they can really give you stuff that's valuable and not just like hey, try your best and work through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is, I just thought of this. When I was working, I had my work life and I had my non-work life. And so it's only since I retired that some of my, the colleagues have gone into the non-work life, as in, on Instagram or whatever. I didn't have anybody from work on my Instagram when I was at work. That was
a conscious thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And same with Facebook. It was like all the social media stuff. It was, I mean, I don't really post much anyway, but, I kept my personal life separate from my work life.
Why did you do that?
Because, first off, they don't understand what my outdoor life is. And I can remember when I moved to Calgary and one of the first weekends I'm back to work and, I'd gone out, I'd climbed both days on the weekend and, Monday we're back in the office and, one of the guys is like, what did you do on the weekend? Like, how was your weekend? And so I went into this bit of a spiel on climbing and where we went and what we did. And we did this and that. And it's a little bit, in depth. And he just sat there with glazed over eyes.
Oh, okay.
And was acknowledging me. He wasn't ignoring me, but he was acknowledging me. And then, he's like, oh, that sounds really cool. And I was like, what did you do? And he said, I went to the farmer's market and bought 2 loaves of fresh bread. And so, yeah, all the weekends after that, like it was, what did you do on the weekend? It's like, oh, I was climbing this weekend.
Yeah.
Done. Because that, they don't have the comprehension, like they're not in there. They don't understand the nuances of all the sports that people do. And it would be the same if, somebody talked to me about a sport I don't do. Like I have friends that kayak at, top level of the world. And I don't know much more than the basis about the boat and, and I mean, I just called it a boat and I would probably cringe.
So blasphemy probably to a kayaker.
Yeah. So yeah, like we all have our lives that we for our activities and things. And yeah, I kept it separate.
Yeah, and I guess when you leave as well, is you probably realize those that you were actually friends with and not just colleagues with.
Yeah.
Because when you leave, you want to keep in touch with, the ones that you did, and then it's easier to introduce them into your life, like personal life.
Yeah. Yeah, there's maybe 6 or 8 of the men and women that I worked with that we got together last February they called it Doug's first annual retirement party.
Oh, wow.
And this year, I think it's the 2 years of separation, formal separation, something like, so yeah, we're just going to get together again in February and go for dinner.
Yeah.
And just, it's kind of fun just to get together and chat with the people. So
I think it also must say a lot about you though, that these people, it's not just that they're like, hey, we're catching up. It's like, I know it's just a funny theme, but it's tied to you. Like, yeah,
I guess so. Yeah.
I know you said you're like an introverted person, and I believe you.
Maybe I'm also likable.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe it's just as simple as you are a nice person. But I mean, it does say a lot, like that people are, not only that they want to meet up with you, but it's like a Doug themed party. I don't think I've ever been to a Richard themed, I can't even remember the last time I had a birthday party.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah. I think I've honestly just been like from the outside looking in and just briefly knowing you from like living in this town like that. It seems that a lot of people do think of you in a very positive sense.
Yeah.
Honestly, like anyone I've talked to, like as soon as you mention your name, they're kind of light up. It's obviously a really nice, I would hope that people would, I don't know if they will, but yeah, it's something that you hope people would do that. And I think people would definitely do that. If I ever mentioned that, I was like chatting to you with a couple of people and they were immediately were like, oh yeah, Doug. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I try not to be an asshole.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know I try not to be as well, but sometimes you get like moments and you're just like, oh no. You cringe and you're like, oh, I lost my temper, but
we all do that.
Yeah. Well, Doug, I appreciate you sitting down with me and coming all the way out here to chat with me. And I think it has been very cool. I know I just said that, but you seem like someone who has a genuine care to like foster friendships. And especially as someone introverted, that I would resonate with that. Like, I definitely am like, right, cool. That's the kind of path that I should be going in as well. Because I think the older I get, the more I appreciate having friends.
Real friends.
Real friends, yeah. And I think being out here as well, everyone kind of shares that similar theme where you are like more intentional with your time and your effort and being close to people. Yeah. But thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been good.